Hey, this is Debbie Williams, aka Soul Fitness Diva, and this is the part 2 that I promised you of Vanity and her synastry with Prince. Now, what I pointed out in the last video is that Vanity has a strong Scorpio influence. She has a stellium, what is called a stellium, and what a stellium is in astrology is when there are 3 or more planets in a sign or a house. Vanity has Jupiter, Neptune, and her moon in the sign of Scorpio. Now, Prince, his astrology is that his sun is in Gemini, so he's a Gemini sun. He's a Scorpio ascendant, and he is a Pisces moon. Now, about their chemistry and astrological synastry, there's just a few things I can point out to keep the video short, and I picked out the things that I thought, that just seemed most relevant to me. That Prince has a Scorpio ascendant, and she's got this stellium in Scorpio. I believe that was magnetizing, that that was part of the attraction between these two. There's a lot more, but I mean, that's just, just for starters. His Venus is in Taurus, opposite his Scorpio ascendant. And Taurus speaks to all things aesthetic, beauty, creativity, attraction to, the flamboyant, the fact that he was very flamboyant, and, that he was and is, back then, when they were lovers, and now as well. You see it in his style then, you see it in his style now, you see it in his makeup, his hairstyles. And with the Scorpio influence, between the Taurus, Venus in Taurus, and, the Scorpio ascendant, they're in opposition to one another. That energy, adds the sexual, the highly sensual, highly sexual, and erotic factor to the whole Venus thing. And so you've got this, this brewing powerhouse of these two, energies, these two people, crossing paths, and, he wasn't able to resist her. His moon, her moon is in Scorpio, but his moon is in Pisces. And they can be compatible, but the deal is that Pisces will never win. If there's an issue, which there was, her substance abuse, that she was so wild, he was attracted to that, but at the same time, ultimately he couldn't tame it. I believe that Prince was the one who got hurt, because Scorpio moon, I mean, the challenged Scorpio moon, they are about, number one, they are about themselves. They can detach. I mean, when they decide that they're done with you, they can forget you like you never existed. Whereas Pisces moon people, they're much more, I don't know. Pisces wants to love. Pisces wants to heal. Pisces wants to make things better. Scorpio moon, especially when that moon is wounded, that Scorpio moon is wounded, which she was, because of the fact that she was molested as a child. She had so many issues, and she had this drive, this hunger, for fame, and she dated a couple of wild guys, after she broke up, with Prince, I mean, she was a force, and he couldn't tame her. And I believe that he loved her very much because, as I left off, I forgot to say in the beginning, where I left off in part one was the concert where Prince, just as he was starting the show in Australia, just as he was starting his concert, he got the news of her death. And he changed the whole format of the show and dedicated the show to songs that he sang, when she was in his life. And that tells me, that's love. That is love. And Pisces can forgive. Pisces, they're not going to get all hung up on, you did this, you did that. And, I mean, they just want to just, kiss and make up and make things all better. Whereas, if he'd been a Scorpio moon, he would have been like, fuck that bitch, and he just would have just went on with the show, and that would have been the end of it. Because that's just the nature of Scorpio moon. That's the Scorpio nature. And that he, dedicated the show to her. It's a tenderness, a show of the tenderness and affection that he did have for her. And let me see. That's such a sad story, that she, as I said in the last video, that she held on for as long as she did, till the age of 57, with such severe issues, with drug addiction and what it did to her body, and, that, Scorpio can take a lot, and even though she's not a Scorpio, I mean, she, has, a heavy Scorpio influence. When you have that many planets in Scorpio, and then your moon is in Scorpio as well, I mean, it's very powerful. Vanity was adventurous. She was sexually intense, in and out of bed, and Prince was just drawn to this, like, like I said, like a moth to flame. I mean, he just could not resist, and ultimately, she turned out to be unattainable. She was someone that he couldn't tame. Prince also has Lilith in Aries, and for a man, he's attracted to that persona, that vanity persona, the not just the beauty, but the wildness, the adventurousness, the sexual intensity, all of those things, because he has that Scorpio, that Scorpio influence. He's a Scorpio ascendant, and they share synastry. They share, let me see if I can remember what it was. I might have to grab my notes. Okay, I'm going to talk about Prince Venus placement. His Venus is in Taurus, which is opposite his Scorpio ascendant. And Taurus speaks to all things aesthetic. It speaks to beauty, creativity, the fact that he had such a strong attraction to, just all things beautiful. He was flamboyant in the way he dressed. I mean, all of his hairstyles. I mean, he's changed his hairstyle over the years. He's been with, the most beautiful women. And that Venus thing blended with the Scorpio thing, the Scorpio being the most intense sign, and it's very sexual, highly sensual, highly erotic. That blend, Taurus on one end, and Venus is in the sign that it rules, so that's like double Venus. And then it's opposite Scorpio, where all that sexual intensity and eccentricity and all of that is, and those are the things that Vanity was. It's also a very spiritual sign. Once Scorpio people can overcome, the challenges of Scorpio, then there's the potential for such high spirituality. It can be low spirituality as well, but they had this in common. And it's interesting that they both ended up in religions that were extreme. I mean, Prince became a Jehovah's Witness, and my history of being raised in the Jehovah's Witness religion. I mean, these guys are like, they're in court like every week, because of the pedophilia problem, and the extremism of, if your child is dying, you can't give them a blood transfusion. You can watch my other videos for that, but it's an extreme religion, and her religion, that ultimately killed her because she died refusing, needed medical treatment. As I pointed out in the part 1 of this video series, she needed a kidney. And in the video link below, you'll be able to watch and see her tell the audience. I don't remember, I think it's like a Pat Robertson show. I don't remember the exact name of the show, but I do remember that she did tell the audience point blank, I do not want a kidney. I'm waiting for God to heal me. And that is extremist religion, because if she... Oh my goodness, it's like both of them, they have this intensity, this sexual intensity that's just so out of control that they need something extreme just to bring it, under control, just to tame it. And they have to take, these extreme measures, with religion, because they are just, they can't contain it. Here are some things I wanted to point out about Prince. In addition to his Gemini sun, he has a Gemini Mercury. So he's got the Sun and Mercury in Gemini, and it's opposite his Sagittarius Saturn. And I believe that, the way I interpret this is that, these two placements gave Prince the stability to have the longevity in his music career that he has, that a lot of people don't have. And also the ability, the innate ability to not self-destruct like so many others do, in the music industry. Saturn is stabilizing. It places limits. And with all that Mars and Pluto energy, because of the Scorpio ascendant, Pluto and Mars being the co-ruler of Scorpio, it balanced the extremes. It helped to balance the Prince has, he had to go and become a Jehovah's Witness to tone it all down. But this Gemini Sun and Gemini Mercury most likely gave him the discernment, that mercurial, that thinking, that ability to think. Well, there goes my camera again. Sorry about that, folks. But yeah, I think that Gemini influence gave him the ability to discern, to think, and to be able to say, you know what, I don't want to go down this road, that is so famous, that musicians are so famous for. The drug overdoses and the, going broke, like Sly Stone. I mean, he lost everything, and just so many others. And Prince was able to figure it out, well in advance, and say, you know what, I need to do something. I'm not going down that road. It's interesting that both Vanity and Prince have Uranus in Leo. This is more of their synastry. Now, Leo is opposite the sign of Aquarius. The place I interpret as a reflection of both of them, trying to cope with their sexual extremes by turning to religion. And Aquarius, it means a lot of things, humanitarianism, but it also means, just, the strange, the unusual, and it means, religious groups, but it can also mean the dangerous or the extreme of the religious groups. And like I said earlier, that's what they both gravitated toward in an attempt to tame themselves, to bring themselves, some balance, because, this energy is just so powerful. I think I'll also say that because Prince has a Leo midheaven, or MC, that's where this ambition, the fact that he is a leader, that he has, executive ability, he's highly organized, he'd have to be all of these things in order to have a career this long. For his career to have all this longevity, and his ability to just reinvent himself and mentioning Madonna again, her sun sign is Leo, and that's all Madonna has done from the beginning. She just keeps reinventing, and Prince, he's not a sun Leo, but he is, a Leo midheaven, or his midheaven is in Leo, and, that's what he's done from the beginning. He just never stopped. So that executive ability, highly organized, the tenacity, the longevity, to attain, these goals that many people, they fall by the wayside. Even putting all their effort into it, they'll fall by the wayside. The obstacles will be there, and the resistance, and just not Prince, not Madonna. With this, he has the ability to see the bigger picture, almost like he's kind of like psychic, or that he has this intuition where he's able to, see what to do next, or know what to do next. And along with that, the tendency to attract, powerful people, whoever it was who saw him and said, you know what, I'm going to sign you. The tendency and ability to have attracted, creative people, and created his own, protege groups, like the Time, Vanity 6, and, and others. These Leo midheaven people, they have a hardcore self-confidence, they're powerful, and they shine. Everything he's created, everything that he's done, with this eclectic energy, this fiery impulse, this strong passion, the place where, the Prince Empire was born out of. He has it. Now back to Lilith in Aries. With this placement, it could also be indicative of someone with the discipline to keep a fit body or a fit physique, to keep a strict dietary regimen in order to use one's body to achieve their goal. And we've seen Prince over the years, he's like, what, 58 now? And, a lot of the musicians by this age, they gain weight. You see them, you see other artists, other R&B artists, the men and the women, they gain weight, they don't know what to do, they don't know how to keep the discipline, or have the discipline to keep themselves in shape. And Prince has not missed a beat from day one. So that's a little more, on the Lilith and Aries. Aries ruled by Mars. Aries is very physical. But in summary, it just really is sad that, that Vanity had to die this way, that Denise Matthews had to die this way, and I think that Prince's song, Little Red Corvette, was prophetic. I guess I should have known by the way you parked your car sideways that it wouldn't last. And, babe, you've got to slow down, Little Red Corvette, because if you don't, you're gonna run your body right into the ground. And that's exactly what she did. I think that the song "Nothing Compares to You" was written for her. All the flowers that you planted, Mama, in the backyard, all died when you went away. I don't know, it's an interesting love story. Yeah, that he just changed the show at his concert, you know, and just dedicated it right to her. There's just something special about it. So anyway, that's my commentary. That's my astrological commentary on Vanity and Prince, and to Vanity, to Evangelist Denise Matthews. R.I.P. You know, I hope that she's found the peace that she was not able to find in this life. And with that, I will see you at my next video. Bye-bye.